Hi everybody, welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Eric Chilton, that is Chad Silver, this is Lauren Coleman and Monique Robbins.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching us on WFNY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFNY News 2 app.
We are following the chance for storms this afternoon. We're going to take a closer look at the radar in just a minute. But first, we are on top of breaking news this afternoon. First responders are working to clean up a fuel leak near a gas station in Archdale.
It started today around 11 and forced businesses near Bonnie Place and West White Drive to evacuate. WFNY News 2's Hunter Funk is at the scene with what we know.
The Gilran Fire Department got a call about a gas leak and how people were smelling gas in the area. They did find gas in a storm drain that leaked to a nearby creek. 12 businesses were evacuated as a precaution, but the Gilran Fire Chief says crews have the situation contained. They estimate nearly 475 gallons are missing from a 20,000 gallon tank filled with gas, but are still working to confirm those numbers. There is still an active leak, so they will stay here until that hazard's gone. And crews hope to let businesses back in the area a little bit later today. But as for this gas station, they don't expect to open it back up until that leak is fixed.
Alrighty then, we already talked about the potential for storms this afternoon. It's so crazy to believe after a very nice weekend that activity is returning back to the radar, but it's summertime in the Triad, and that's what we certainly do expect each afternoon. A severe storm threat is well out of the central Piedmont area, but we are seeing some pop-up showers and even some heavy downpours, especially down in just north of Asheboro, right around Thomasville. You see this very heavy downpour that's crossing in, heading right towards Randall. Widening this view and zooming on further west to where that severe thunderstorm warning is well to the west of us, including Burke, Cleveland, Lincoln, and Rutherford counties. Again, well out of the central Piedmont, but does have immense lightning with it and a tornado possible tag with it. Just keeping an eye out to how these storms develop, because we could be potentially looking at that in our area over the next couple of hours. This is a wider view of the satellite radar showing you those storms that are developing out in the western Piedmont as well as further south around the Charlotte area, and both of which include a lot of lightning with them. Well off the Virginia coastline and on the eastern coast of North Carolina, there are some showers there, but other than that, things look much drier. Those clouds that have been sticking with us in the early part of the day have limited how warm we've gotten. Guys, it's August and we're in the 70s. We should be in the upper 80s. Some folks may be seeing some 90s. We're not seeing that today, and that's due to the clouds and some of the showers that rolled in earlier this morning. Kind of helped to cool us down quite a bit. As we go through this week, these temperatures are staying in the 70s. In fact, tomorrow, some folks may not even get out of the 70s. It is going to be a cool Tuesday ahead. And it's August. So when will things return back to where they should be for this time of year? I'll talk more about it coming up.
And don't forget, you can download the WFNY News 2 app to take that radar with you wherever you go. Easy to do. If you look at the bottom right corner of the screen there, you can just scan that QR code and download that directly to your phone.
Most Gopher County students go back to school 2 weeks from today, and new safety upgrades are going in now. The district started installing body scanners at all 19 high schools today. It'll also include training for staff. Scanners are already at Kearns Academy and the Academy at Smith when students went back earlier this month. GCS high schoolers will have more options to get to school this year. The district will keep its partnership with Greensboro Transit Authority. Last year, you'll remember some high schoolers had to ride city buses during a driver shortage. Well, this year, it's now just an option high school students have. The city maintains it's also a safe option.
Our system is pretty much just as safe as any transit system in the country. When you look at it on a percentage of our riders, we're quite proud with our safety record, but we'll always continue to keep striving to make sure that we have 100% safety.
The city and school district met yesterday to answer questions from parents. They will hold another one of these meetings on Sunday.
And today was the first day back for students at Surry County schools. They returned greeted by teachers and staff who've been working for weeks to get ready for day one. Surry County, by the way, one of the first districts to send all of its traditional students back to class this early. Right now, their school year is set to end on May 26th.
We want to make sure students are ready for this new school year, and that's why WFNY News 2's annual Tools for School supply drive is back. For 25 years, we've collected supplies for students heading back to school. You can put supplies in donation boxes at Walmart stores across the Triad while you are out shopping this month. Tools for Schools runs through September 5th.
All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up, North Carolina's COVID-19 state of emergency ended today. It had been in place since March of 2020. The order did things like protected people from price gouging, allowed truck drivers to work longer hours, and helped speed up the transport of medical supplies. The governor said the latest state budget now covers many of those items. Health leaders in the UK just approved a new variant-specific COVID vaccine, the first country to do so. The new vaccine from Moderna targets both the original and Omicron versions of the virus. They're now working on a rollout plan. Health leaders in the U.S. have said we could see this booster shot in September or October. Defense attorneys representing WNBA star Brittany Griner have filed an appeal against her 9-year prison sentence. You'll remember a Russian court found Griner guilty and sentenced her to 9 years behind bars for bringing marijuana vape cartridges into Russia. Meantime, talks continue between the U.S. and Russia for a possible prisoner swap as a way to bring Griner home. President Biden and his family are vacationing in Kiowa Island, South Carolina right now. Over the weekend, they were spotted on a bike ride, out shopping, and at a church service. They previously vacationed on the island when he was vice president. They'll return to Washington later this week.
We have an update to some sad news that we first learned about over the weekend. Actress Anne Heche has died 1 week after a fiery crash in L.A.
She spent the week on life support but died Sunday. CBS's Dan Lieberman reports on her life and legacy.
When she was a child, Anne Heche first performed at a dinner theater in New Jersey.
That was my big break. Really? Sure. I was 12 and I got $100 a week, and that started my, that started me gigging for acting all the rest of my life.
Years later, the Ohio native got a bigger break on the soap opera Another World. Playing both roles of twin sisters, Heche won a Daytime Emmy in 1991.
So, we have... Oh, well then what's your problem? Would you please let me get a sentence in?
Heche made her film debut in An Ambush of Ghosts in 1993. She went on to play opposite Johnny Depp in Donnie Brasco and Harrison Ford in 6 Days, 7 Nights.
I spent a hell of a lot more than 6 days and 7 nights with this man. Yes. And that makes me feel good. You don't wanna see me.
More recently, Heche was a contestant on Dancing with the Stars and acted on Chicago PD. Over the years, her private life was also a very public one. Her relationship with Ellen DeGeneres made headlines in the late 1990s. Following their breakup in 2000, she married camera operator Coleman LaFoon. After their divorce, she entered a decade-long relationship with actor James Tupper. In a 2001 memoir, Call Me Crazy, the mother of two discussed her lifelong struggles with mental health. On the morning of August 5th, Heche crashed her car into a house in Los Angeles. She suffered a serious brain injury and was put on life support before she died. Anne Heche was 53 years old. Dan Lieberman, CBS News.
Heche's family says she was being kept on life support the last few days because she was a firm believer in organ donation. We'll be right back.
All right, I am talking. Oh, I got an echo in my ear. Thank you. All right, it's gone. Thanks so much. I'm talking about college kids who still want to stay home and not go live on campus. Yeah, well, she's starting her 3rd year, but it's actually 1st year, like living there because of COVID the past 2. Yeah, thank you.
Students are back in Greensboro with the new college year set to get underway.
That's right. North Carolina A&T students started moving into the dorms over the weekend. An exciting time for new college students.
I'm feeling pretty excited, pretty anxious.
He's excited. I'm going to miss him.
4 hours away from home, so it's like I'm by myself. But, you know, new beginnings.
The next chapter, very exciting. Well, A&T is not requiring COVID vaccines this year, but they did require on-campus students to show proof of a negative COVID test. Classes start Wednesday.
Yeah, you know, heading to college, that's an adjustment for both students and parents. Some parents get emotional. It is understandable as their son or daughter starts the new chapter in their lives, but it isn't always the parents who struggle. There are quite a few students who have a hard time as well. This is what Blanca Cobb, who has a master's degree in psychology, it's what we're talking about today. Let's get right into it. Blanca, talk about that break from home, because all of us that have experienced this know, you know, it's a positive and it can be a negative. It's a little worrisome, but it's also exciting.
Absolutely. There's one thing about home is that it's comfort. It's safe haven. Think about it. For the past 18 years, your kids, what do? They go home. Like if they're working after school, if they're sick after vacation, where do they go? They go home. But now there's going to be a new home, at least temporarily while they're in college, whether it's a dorm or whether it's an apartment, and they're taking new stuff, new environment, new routines, and that can be a little daunting because it isn't that safe haven that they're accustomed to.
You know, also, I know for me, when I took the twins, this was just last year that I took them to two separate schools, it's hard not to show your emotion. I mean, how do parents kind of help their student adjust without letting them still be so dependent on you?
That's a tough one, because what happens is that some students, right when high school ends, are like, that's it, I'm out of here, no more rules, life on my own as I see it. But you know what? A lot of that is just talk. It's a game, right? Because there's a difference between talk and reality, and it's scary to be on their own. So as a parent, you have to have a lot of patience and realize that they're exploring, they're trying to figure it out. And so sometimes it's this big bravado that they're showing, but underneath they really are fearful. And that's where compassion and understanding comes in.
So it's tough to have the strong hand sometimes as a parent. So what if your kid starts calling you so much that you feel like they're not really engaged at school as much as they need to? And so that's a hard thing to do, but how do you balance that?
I say you want to be grateful that they're even calling, because you don't know when it's going to change and you're not going to hear from them, right, for long periods of time. But when they call you, see if you can identify emotions. Are they lonely? Do they need reassurance? Are they bored? Maybe they just want to hear your voice. And if you're listening to their tone of voice and you listen to patterns of what they're saying, it gives you a better picture of what might be going on. And then you can help them. For example, if you get a sense that they're either bored or they're lonely, you might want to ask some questions. Well, tell me about some of your new students that you've met, or tell me about your classes, or what are you doing for fun? The reason you want to ask the questions because you're prompting their mind to start thinking what they can do instead of always thinking or being stuck in that negative emotion of loneliness or fearfulness or whatever it is that they're feeling. You want to guide their thinking.
And it's such a helpless feeling as a parent when you feel like they're struggling a little bit. You gotta push them a little bit, but you also still want to be there. I mean, that's a fine tightrope that you walk, I think.
Absolutely. It is. And you're right, Eric. It is this balancing act. It's this juggling act. But the more supportive you can be and asking questions that get them to think, and I'm saying think because students don't want to be told what to do anymore. So that's why it's so important as a parent is to be more to help them guide that thinking process.
Yeah, that's an understatement. They don't want to be told what to do anymore. Yeah, put an exclamation mark at the end of that. All right, thank you, Blanca. You can keep that conversation going on Blanca's Facebook page. Just search for Blanca Cobb, body language expert. We'll be back.
So storms have been popping up across the Triad area, and as we look further south, it looks as though the storm threat is greater out of the central Piedmont area, but we're still keeping a close eye on it. We're still within the vicinity of possibly seeing storms. A severe thunderstorm watch has just been issued until 10 p.m. for Montgomery County. So if you are in Montgomery and listening into me, you have the greatest potential for seeing severe storms late this evening, but that does not mean everyone else should just be off guard. Everyone needs to be on the lookout for the potential for severe storms for the next couple of hours. Our Futurecast helps to best paint the picture as to what we can expect through this evening. We're already seeing storms and heavy downpours develop across the area, and as we go over the next hour or two, we're going to continue to see these storms push in and heavy downpours push in across our area. If my clicker wants to work here, I can advance it. Let's see on here. We're going to see these storms push in towards the east and then create heavier downpours around Guilford County, Forsyth County, and then continuing into the late hours. We're getting a break from most of the heavy downpours, but then things are going to be much lighter as we transition into the early part of your Tuesday morning. It isn't a clear slate. We still have that possibility of seeing some heavy downpours through the wee hours of your Tuesday morning in some spots, but they're not as significant as compared to what we're going to see in the next hour or two. Continuing through your Tuesday morning with a blanketed skies and then lighter showers along that southern Virginia border. As we go throughout your Tuesday, it will be a very chilly day. Take notice, 73 degrees is the forecast high for your Tuesday.
At some moment in our lives, we have all found ourselves battling low self-confidence. Well, today, Coach Lamont offers a solution to help us kick those self-confidence blues.
It is time to awaken to a new self-confidence. Here's how you do it. Number one, be present. Know that this is your moment and own it. Don't accept lack as your final outcome. There is more in front of you than that which is behind you. Number two, lighten up. One way to dissuade yourself from taking action is to take whatever you are about to do too seriously. That only makes it feel too big, too difficult, and too scary. You will then realize that those problems and negative feelings are just something you've created in your own mind. Number three, stay focused. It is hard to get distracted when focus is the means by which you live by. Reprogram yourself with the attitude, I already got this mentality, and it will be impossible for you to lose. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best you day. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, if you had to put a number on it, how many friends do you think you have in your circle these days? A new survey from Disney found most people say they have about 10 good friends in their social circle. Of those friends, at least one they have known since they were 6 years old. On average, most friendships, they say, last around 17 years. So I asked you on Facebook to tell me about your longest friendship and maybe a little about it. Carol Harris Smith says, I met my best friend when we were 2 years old. We lived in the same apartment building. 65 years later, I consider her not only my best friend, but my sister too. Angie Richardson said, I met my BFF when I was 4 and she was 3. We are now 44 and 43. She lived about a half a football field from me, and we are still good friends today. Her mom and my mom also became friends and are still friends to this day. Dorothy said, I met my pen pal in Ireland in 7th grade, and we still talk on the phone and on Facebook. We have never met in person, but it would be awesome if we can meet face to face. And Angie Wood said, my first day of 3rd grade, still have those special people as friends today. May not see each other a whole lot. Life happens. We all get busy, but we would be there for each other if it were needed. And Tammy said, I met my BFF in 2nd grade. We are now 54 years old.
Oh, wow, that's a long friendship.
I met my best friend the first day of 1st grade because I had moved. We moved 4 times before I was 6 years old. So back to Mount Airy, and he went home and told his mom, I met my new best friend because we're 6, and he goes, and we're going to go to Carolina and room together, and we did, which was crazy years later. She told me that years later that he said that. I didn't even know it, and we did. Crazy.
My best friend and I's story is a mystery of how we met, but all of our baby pictures, she's always in the picture. So when we were younger, we would tell people that we were sisters just because she was always in the picture. We're still great friends today, but it's just so amazing because our parents know the story, but we're like, no, we just tell people we're sisters. She's in the picture anyway. We kind of look alike.
Right.
Just go along with it. My situation's a little bit different. So you all know I'm a military brat, an Army brat. So I have friends that I've known since I was like 2 or 3, and we still keep in touch. But since I had to move so much, I lost contact throughout the years with certain people. So it wasn't until college where I felt like I met my best friends, my core group, and my lifelong friends that I'm always going to have.
I feel like I'm a little bit similar to that. The friends who I keep in contact with most are from college age and beyond. And I honestly think that because I grew up in such a small town, the people I was friends with growing up, it was a matter of convenience and not so much that we had so much in common that we were meant to be friends. It was like those were the people that you had to be friends with because that's all that there were.
Well, you're like me in that I went from 1st grade through high school with the same.
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
I did
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I did not. I moved every 2 to 3 years, and it wasn't until 7th grade where we got to settle down a little bit. And a lot of those kids had gone to daycare together. They grew up in the sandbox together, so I kind of had to, finagle my way through that. So I never was tied to one group. So that's why college is when I had my true foundation of friends.
Friends are important no matter when
They
you
are.
Absolutely.
That's right. All right, we'll take a break. Be right back. Here, come over here. Come closer. There we go. We're all friends. Okay, too close. Too close. Eric, Chad, Monique, and Lauren with you today.
Hey everybody. Thanks for joining us. Remember, we're also live on Facebook, so join the conversation.
And we got a lot of stuff that we are working on here today, but I think the forecast is top of mind for everybody. Monique, chance of storms today as well, right?
Yeah, it's so much different than this weekend. I know everyone enjoyed the weather this weekend, especially Saturday. It was low humidity. The temperatures were in the 80s. Everyone wanting to do outdoor shopping. The sun was shining. Sunday, things changed a bit, and today things changed once again. The weather is always ever changing. This storm now developing well down to the south of Montgomery County with a severe thunderstorm tag on it, moving to the north and east. You see quite a bit of lightning with that particular storm. Now, it only is a radar indicated storm. We're not seeing that tornado possibility tag with this storm as we did with the other one, but that tornado threat is possible for the latter part of today. So keeping an eye on all storms, no matter where they develop, even if they're nearby us, because if they're nearby us and they're headed in our direction, well, that's when we certainly need to be on alert so we can update you. Over the next several hours, these temperatures will be falling down into the upper 60s. But get this, tomorrow, very few of us will really warm up out of the 70s tomorrow. So this range that we're getting from now until this evening is the same range we'll stick through tomorrow. So staying in those 70s, dropping down to the 60s. It's going to be a very chilly day, feeling like fall and definitely not like summer in the month of August where we should be for this time of year. So 64 tonight, 73 tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies, not looking at the chance for storms tomorrow. That threat stays today. It's mostly going to be showers if we do see any activity tomorrow. Here are the details of what you need to know for the next several days. Heavy downpours with storms are possible tonight. A cool air wedge sets up for tomorrow, which means cloudy, cool, rainy, one of those gray days where you want to kind of like lay in the bed, but you got to still go to work. That's the day tomorrow. Unsettled weather and staying cool for the rest of the week.
And don't forget to download our WFMY News 2 app. You can take that wherever you go, and you've got the radar right there in your pocket. It'll show you all the latest watches and warnings, even traffic updates there. It's totally free. You can download that on the App Store or in Google Play.
We're on top of breaking news this afternoon in Archdale. Businesses there have evacuated after a fuel leak near a gas station at Bonnie Place and White Drive. They found the leak this morning after people were calling about an odor. Firefighters found fuel in a storm drain that leaked into a creek. Firefighters say they were able to get that leak stopped, but evacuated about 10 businesses as a precaution. They say there is not a threat to public safety.
Danger to the public right now is minimal because we've evacuated the area. Our biggest concern right now, the reason we're staying here, is because there still is an active leak, and we want to make sure that something doesn't happen to a business that is unoccupied right now. So we're going to stay here until that hazard has dissipated.
They're still trying to figure out just how much fuel leaked, but believe it could be more than 400 gallons. For some perspective here, that's about the same amount of liquid as 2.5 hot tubs. Emergency management and an environmental agency are on site helping with cleanup. We will have a live update from the scene coming up at 5.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Today marks 20 years since someone murdered the Short family. Henry County deputies found Mike and Mary Short shot to death in their Virginia home in 2002. Their daughter kidnapped. Investigators found her remains in Stoneville more than a month later. Just last fall, the FBI launched a task force dedicated to solving the murders. Investigators say they continue to work new leads as they come in, but so far no arrests have been made in this case. For the 9th straight week, gas prices have fallen in Greensboro, but the relief at the pump may end soon. Right now, the average price is $3.62 a gallon. That's according to Gas Buddy. That's 55 cents lower than we saw just a month ago. Gas Buddy experts warn the streak of lower prices is at risk, with oil prices rebounding. Prices are expected to stay the same or tick up a few cents by next week. The owner of Hops Burgers confirmed the Winston-Salem location is closing for good. They say COVID and staffing issues made it too hard to keep the location on Rinalda Road open. Both locations in Greensboro will stay open. Workers at the Winston location were given the option to transfer to a different location. And the summer slump at the movies has arrived despite 3 new releases this weekend. Bullet Train, starring Brad Pitt, won at the box office for a 2nd straight week. Top Gun: Maverick also shot back into third place 3 months after its initial release. After a summer where moviegoers returned to theaters, right now ticket sales have slowed as summer winds down. And in case you missed it, check out WFNY News 2 movie critic Manning Frank's review of Bullet Train. You can watch it on the WFNY News 2 YouTube channel. And Manning, he's going to be back this week with another review, and will also be answering your questions live on Facebook. So stick with us.
You know, it's been a while since we've seen the lights on there at TRIAD Stage for a performance. In fact, they are ready to reopen after being closed for nearly 2 years during the pandemic. I spoke with a familiar face for all of us at News 2, Mitchell Summers, who's helping the theater relaunch, all about what we can expect. So I love any theater. Mitchell Summers knows that because I've known him forever. We're here at TRIAD Stage, and you know, so now you're helping to jumpstart this. It's been a couple years, right? So what can we expect with this? Is it different than it used to be?
You know, TRIAD Stage always has been interested in telling stories of North Carolina playwrights, but they're taking even more of an interest where they're going to be a hub for people wanting to create new works. They're going to focus on stories that really tell about North Carolina, like the first show that opens, Rebellious. It's based on lifelike characters of 4 young ladies at Bennett, the Bennett Bells, who wanted to take part in the World War sit-in and the Civil Rights Movement. A wonderful story, and Mike Wiley, who wrote it, is a local playwright.
It's interesting. I don't think, explain what TRIAD Stage is for people that aren't quite as familiar, because this is a different entity than, say, a Tanger or something like that.
It is, Eric, and I'm glad you asked that. We have community theater down the street, which is all local actors, right, and local technicians and local people. And then you have the Tanger Center, which is unbelievable, bringing in these Broadway shows from New York, which is incredible. And then you have TRIAD Stage. There is a need for a professional equity theater, but it's not something like Tanger in that they're bringing in shows. These are shows that are mounted here by playwrights from here, directors from here, actors from here, with some equity actors coming in from New York, so amateurs get a chance to work alongside professionals. So we really want to keep TRIAD Stage thriving and have a hub here in the Triad.
If you looked ahead, what do you think is the future for a theater like this?
I think, you know, part of the challenge is that they are being very bold in their new vision. And so the challenge is going to be to get people in Greensboro and the Triad to support these kinds of works. I think eventually, in my opinion, that I would like to see it be a mix, that TRIAD Stage continues to do all these innovative works representing LGBT, people of color, women, important local stories, but also do some musicals and make sure we have people who come in, and then of course they cross over, right? And then we all win.
Very good. See? This guy knows what he's talking about, so pay attention. Pay attention. Thanks, Mitchell. He's such a great guy and has been around for a long time in the Triad when it comes to theater. And I love what he said. I never thought of that the Tanger is the big professional productions that come by. CTG is local, and TRIAD Stage is the mesh between the two. So it'd be nice for local actors to work with real professionals.
And we were talking about this before the show, and I asked you, do some of the actors get paid? Because I know, like, during the pandemic, a lot of places closed down and people couldn't find work. So this will put some people back to work actually making, you know, money off.
I think a lot, I mean, don't quote me on this, but I think the professional ones, I think they can't, they may or may not get paid, but they usually bring them in from somewhere else. Now, one of the plays this year is called Rebellious. You might have seen the graphic. That one was written by a local playwright. It's about Greensboro, and it takes kind of a fictional story based on fact. So it's for Bennett College students who were here during the sit-in movements, and it's about their experience surrounding that.
I would love to see something like that, just to embrace the art and the professionals in our area and see, you know, the work that they're doing. I think it just adds another, you know, form of entertainment for us to do.
I am embarrassed to say I have never been there, and I don't know why. I think maybe well,
it's been closed.
Working right, but I mean, I've been here for a long time, but I've always been interested in it or curious about it. So I guess now's the time to go.
Yeah, it is. And if you haven't been inside that, it seats about 350, 380. So it's more like an intimate theater experience. In fact, the bottom 3 rows, and Lauren has a theater background, she'll love this. Those bottom like 4 or 5 rows that go, it's like theater in the round.
Oh.
So you're like on the stage with
So they're
them.
using the stage as a prop, basically.
Sort of, yes.
That is set up that way.
It's really
Very
cool. So check it out. All right, take a break. We'll be back.
You almost got me there. You almost got me there. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. Do we have the table, or do I need to put on shoes? Okay. I can tell you that they don't require a health inspection. If you do not make anything, like ice cream or cotton candy is not like actually baked or cooked, you are then inspected by the Department of Agriculture.
Right, like.
Hey, the countdown to the Carolina Classic Fair, it is on, my friends. It starts September the 30th and it runs through October. Now, as is normal for the 4 to 5 crew, right? They talk about food. So, of course, we're going to be talking about fair food. So, what is your favorite fair food?
It's hard to pick a favorite. I kind of like them all. You know, the deep fried Oreos, Snickers, and I like a turkey leg too every now and then.
You stole mine. So mine is, it's the typical, what's the bread? The
funnel cake.
Yeah, funnel cake. That's number one. And then the turkey leg.
Yeah.
I love the big old turkey leg.
I like anything that you can deep fry.
Yep.
I also like the corn on the cob where they just dip it in a vat of butter
Oh,
and then put
yes.
some salt and pepper on it. And
Forgot about that.
That is good.
Yeah,
that
lots
is
of good
good.
stuff.
All right, so I got a sneak peek at some of the offerings for this year's Carolina Classic Fair. They said, you know, Tanya, it's a little early, but we're going to share these with you. So number one, cotton candy funnel cake, which I think I like that. All right, now here's something new. It's called sugar waffles. So I'm thinking that they're kind of like hard, like sugar waffles. And the Cinnabon bus is going to be out there at the fair for the first time
You got a
this year.
reaction to that alone.
And then this is a local,
Struggle bus.
I know, this is a local coffee shop turned food bus, and it's called the Struggle Bus. So you know there's going to be coffee at the fair, which to me I think is necessary.
Always good.
Right. All right, so it's always fun for me also to see what other states have at their fairs. So this is from the Iowa State Fair. It's the Dog House Reuben sandwich, pastrami, kraut, Thousand Island, cream cheese, and a slice of pickle in a hot dog bun. All right, now if that doesn't do it for you, how about this right here? We've got the OMG chicken sandwich. The OMG chicken sandwich.
Whoa.
So fried chicken covered in cornflakes, which I thought was interesting. Glazed donut for the bun, topped with bacon, and then drizzled with syrup, you know, to just round it out. Then this is called the pork picnic in a cup. You have your pulled pork, your baked beans, your coleslaw garnished with brown sugared pork belly. Now those are the three that stuck out to me. There was also something else which I thought you would enjoy, Chad. It was weird though. It was Spam cheese curds.
So
Spam.
I like cheese curds, but not Spam.
I know.
I've never had Spam before, but I just don't even want to try it.
Okay.
But I would try that.
You would try it?
Yeah.
All right. And then there's also an alligator corn dog.
Oh, that sounds good. I like gator bites.
You do like gator bites.
So do I.
And those have been at the Carolina Classic Fair before.
I've had gator tail before when I lived in Florida. Yeah.
And I like corn dogs, so.
And then the other thing that the Iowa State Fair had that I really liked that they didn't have a picture of was a dill pickle snow cone.
So Sonic came out with a dill pickle
Really?
Slurpee icy a couple years ago, and
Really?
people liked it. So this might not be
I
that
would
bad.
try that because I love pickles.
Yeah, same.
So the Carolina Classic had the lemonade pickle. The pickle lemonade. So it was like a dill pickle inside the lemonade.
I feel like that
was
could work.
actually good. Sweet
Really?
and
That would
salty.
work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'll try that.
I know. I just kind of feel like, if you're there, you should just try
Right,
it.
you
And I know it's like
Absolutely.
$10 to try something, but just try it, right?
That's the experience, right?
That is the experience. And I'm not going to ride a ride, so I'm just going to eat
Yeah.
the food.
When
Me
I
too.
lived in Nebraska, they let me. I kind of met up with one of the trucks, and they let me deep fry whatever we wanted to. So we went to the grocery store and got like watermelon and fruit roll-ups and Starbursts and just deep fried all of it.
Ooh,
Was any
deep
of
fried
it good?
Starburst.
No, none of it was good.
None of it was good.
All right, I had to go down the rabbit hole because, as I always do, to find the real facts of all the kinds of things. According to this website, Rethink Rule, the history of the state fair in the U.S. dates back to 1841. The first gathering was organized in Syracuse, New York. The main focus, of course, agriculture offerings, inventions, and such.
Radars across the Carolinas are still returning some active weather. We're seeing the storms that are developing in South Carolina and inching closer to the North Carolina coast. But here across the Triad, things aren't as busy, but that doesn't mean we haven't seen rain today. If you remember earlier on this morning, there were some heavy downpours that made their way through. This is a look at estimated rainfall throughout your Monday, and it looks as though a lot of folks saw a lot of rain. Moving on over to the mountains, right around Allegheny County, Surry and Stokes County, 4 inches of rain just to the west of Mount Airy. Really significant downpour there. Trap Hill about 4.1 inches there for today in total, including what's happening now. 1.9 inches of rainfall just to the west of Randleman, south of Thomasville. A big concentration of heavy rainfall there. Now, as we widen the picture, you can see temperatures are cooler here across North Carolina in the 90s and 80s, where we should be down to the south of us. That's because they're on the southern part of this boundary that continues to sit over us and going to keep us in the cool side for the next couple of days. In fact, 73 is that high temperature for your Tuesday, 76 on Wednesday, and then we're on the upward climb as we head towards the weekend.
You know, umpires are on the field in baseball and the diamond, of course. They got to keep the game moving, calling strikes and outs and even dealing with an upset parent from time to time. No, but a Minnesota umpire is known from his backflipping energy, and he's gone viral. Boyd Hupert from our sister station in Minnesota reports.
3 balls, 2 strikes. By tradition, umpires are an anonymous bunch. It's their nature. You know the umpire's name?
No, I don't.
But one field over, at the Minnesota girls 10 and under state softball tournament.
Are y'all ready?
Everyone knows this name.
My name Blue Lou, and you know what I got. What do you got? I got a 10 that's hotter than hot.
If you missed it,
Blue Lou.
ask around.
Blue Lou.
Y'all ready?
Everyone here knows
Yep.
Blue Lou.
Oh, he is an amazing ump, and we love him.
Love his strike calls.
He does like the one where he bowls.
Isn't that crazy?
It's almost like he does a dab.
The quiver, the bow, the arrow, and easily Minnesota's most photographed umpire.
I believe that we.
Part game official,
I believe that we will win.
part motivational speaker, part acrobat. Everyone knows Blue Lou.
He's the best umpire. Yeah.
But who is he?
Lewis Williams IV.
Lewis Williams, top right, hands on the shoulder of the single mom who raised Lewis and his 4 younger siblings in Milwaukee.
Way to take one for the team, even though you want to scream.
In 2016, he came to Minnesota to play football at St. Cloud State University.
So I had like a year and a half left of school. They cut the team because of budget issues.
Lewis stayed, earned his engineering degree, struck a pose with his mother, and went to work in his field.
That was for you, Mom.
The field of manufacturing engineering and the infield.
She's a walker, just like Betty Crocker. Go, Betty, go, Betty, go. Go, Betty, go, Betty, go.
Full count, and then he rubs his belly.
Hook out.
He goes from dugout to dugout.
Everyone do the bike and rumble.
He kind of gets them going back and forth.
Drop and rumble. Foul ball, F-O. U-L. Girl, you found that ball.
Last year, around this time, I read a book. It's called The Compound Effect. And the book basically was talking about if you got a talent, put it on display for the world to see.
You might say Lewis jumped at the opportunity.
I love the energy he brings. I believe.
How much do they love him?
Can you switch?
That's a team pleading to have Lewis move from another game to theirs.
Everybody say please.
I think we're gonna have to stay.
He sets a high standard for the rest of us umpires. These 10-year-old girls ask me, "Are you going to do flips for us?"
And I go like, no.
Our ump's cooler than yours.
I was the first ones here.
The girls will encounter plenty of umpires
Thank you.
they won't long remember. And one they will never forget.
As long as the kids have fun, hey, I do 100 backflips. It don't matter to me.
Boyd Hupert, KARE 11 News.
Awesome.
I love
I do too.
this story. I just couldn't help but smile and giggle throughout the whole
thing. Just
signing bats.
Yeah, just that connection with him and the children when he would chant, they would chant back. I mean, that's a story that makes you smile.
He transcends the game.
Absolutely. And I mean, an extraordinary image. You've got players from both teams with arms around each other doing the same thing. I mean, when do you ever see two teams playing against each other come together for anything?
And he's impacting so many people if you think about it. People do so many things throughout the week and they probably play a game like maybe once or twice a week. It's something to look forward to. You never know what's going on at school or what's going on at home, but he is putting a smile on so many people's faces that he probably just, it's a way for people to have a release, to be like, you know, I can laugh this weekend.
I just love that he diffuses parents that get so obsessed with their kids playing these sports and just bring it down to a kid's game again. That's great.
I love it.
Wow. Great story. Great way to end it. We'll be right back.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3.
I hear a Tim Buckley in the house, or maybe in the weather garden. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination.
Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Hear you. Do you hear me? Check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool.
I've got something cool for you to check out. This is my favorite new flower from our Queen of the Night plant. After 3 years of having the vine with no blooms, the exotic looking treat popped up out of nowhere. I did some research into what made it bloom. The flower experts told me that the plants bloom when they're thriving, but they also bloom when a plant feels like it's threatened, like it might be pushed to the point of dying. Plants give it everything they got and produce flowers. It's their way of making sure they reproduce and carry on. That is a powerful lesson for all of us. When things get rough, when you're feeling down and beaten, that is not the time to give up. That's when we must dig deep and give life everything we've got. Earlier this year, I lost my dad and grandfather within a couple of months of each other. I was starting to spiral downwards. sleeping all the time, avoiding hanging out with friends, stuffing my face with fast food, gaining 20 pounds. Instead of shutting down completely, a good friend suggested I set some goals to achieve, something to focus on instead of the depression. So I started working out at least 4 times a week and throwing myself into work. You know, it took a couple of months and the sadness is still there, but it's manageable now. Using your energy for something positive and productive, it takes away from how much you can focus on the bad. And you never know, you might get something beautiful in the process. That's my 2 cents. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
We are following breaking news right now on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock. Businesses evacuated because of a fuel leak in Archdale. The call first came in as an odd smell late this morning.
The fuel leaked into a nearby creek. WFMY News 2's Hunter Funk joins us live in